So John, tell us, can leadership be taught to people, or is it inbuilt?
You know, this is
human being?
So this is a question I get a lot. Are people natural born leaders, or can it be taught? I very strongly believe that it can be taught. I think some people just maybe get a shot at it a little earlier. Maybe their parents give them a few tricks and tips early so they seem like natural leaders. But I strongly believe anyone can be a great leader. And in fact, a lot of times the best leaders don't always seem like the best leaders. Those charismatic, exciting, great leaders often don't accomplish as much as the more quiet, reserved, but very connected leaders.
Okay. Is there a difference between an entrepreneur and a manager, and the leadership styles between the two, and how do you deal with that, reconcile with them? A lot of startups have this problem. You know, entrepreneurs have this problem that they also have to be a manager, but they want to retain the entrepreneurship inside.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people like to point to the difference between leaders and managers. And are you an entrepreneur or are you a manager? I think that there are some useful things out of that. But for me, I would like to go a level deeper and say, are you good at motivating people? Are you willing to give people in your organization what they need to be successful? Are you maybe even willing to take responsibility for your people's success? Those are the people, managers, leaders, entrepreneurs, corporate types. The people that I see that are the most successful are the ones who empower the people around them, whether they're the people above them, the people next to them, the people below them, it doesn't matter. They're the people who take responsibility for the results of the people that they're responsible for. So instead of saying, gosh, that was a terrible job, why are you always screwing up? They say, you know, I noticed that you're not living up to your potential here. And I noticed that you make this mistake on a regular basis, and yet you're so brilliant. How could I help you so that your brilliance could really shine forth? How could I help you live up to who I know you are? And I think that now becomes just great people skills. Is it leadership? Is it management? Are you corporate? Are you an entrepreneur? That stuff starts to matter less. You're getting what you want. You're accomplishing things.
Are there any three fundamental traits of a leader which is synonymous across the world? You know, any three fundamental traits?
I would say that in my work with leaders, the three of the really fundamental things that I found. One is they genuinely love people. That's a great leader. Someone who genuinely loves people, because that shows forth and people want to follow that kind of a person. The second thing is something that I think is highly underappreciated, which is that great leaders are no question great communicators. And I believe that you can become a better and better and better communicator, and that will make you a better and better and better leader. But if you want to be a great leader and you're not working on your communication all the time, I think you're missing a huge opportunity. And then the third great capacity of a leader, I think, in the people that I've seen, is their ability to believe in people no matter what's going on in the moment, right? I may have screwed up, but the person who's leading me doesn't talk to my screw up. They talk to me and my greatness. John, you messed this up, but you're great. How can we get you back to greatness again? And you know, I've had leaders that put me down for my mistakes, and then I've had other leaders that talk to me like I was great even though I made a mistake. I'll tell you who I'd rather follow. You know, that person who talks to me like I'm great.
The other thing is a good leader also a good human being? Always, Hitler was a good leader, right? I mean, he could lead half of the world at that point of time.
You know,
and we're seeing a kind of a trend in the world which is moving towards right wing, you know, and a closed world kind of thing. So what do you want to say about that?
Well, so this is a place where, you know, is a great leader always a great person? Yes. I suppose that historically, we've seen examples of people who were great leaders for a time, had a lot of people following them, you know. But I do believe fundamentally that there's a short-term game and a long-term game, and I feel like there are leaders who maybe have had to do bad things in the moment, but overall their desire, their goals were for the good and for the greater good, versus those leaders who maybe had a lot of followers, like maybe somebody that we both know who's running my country right now, who have a lot of followers for the moment, but it's very much about them. It's very selfish. It's a short-term thing. I don't think that those kinds of leaders stand the test of time, you know. So for me, there great leadership and being somebody who is out for the greater good is synonymous. I think if there are aberrations, those are short-term, and those are not things that will stand the test of time.
The other thing is about startups. This is the E-Summit IIT which is holding. A lot of startups go through failure.
Yes.
How do people come out of that failure even in the first 2-3 years? Because you face failure almost every day. The client is not listening, their employees leaving, the investor is not funding you.
Yeah.
There's no money coming in, there's no money to pay salaries. So how do you keep that motivation up?
So
for a regular period of time?
Yeah.
4 years.
You know, I went through this myself, and I'll tell you my experience of keeping my motivation up through failure. I had an $80 million .com company. We raised $80 million. So it was worth much more than that, but was with 3 other guys, and we went out of business in the .com crash. So I burned $80 million, and I was so ashamed and so embarrassed and so upset that I almost died of an autoimmune disease. And in the hospital, I saw something really important for myself. I saw that my life had been lived in a context that was very small. My context was, I'm going to succeed, and opportunity only knocks once, and I'm going to be, big, and right? Not a great context. And as I look back on my life at that point, I realized how small that was. And I decided if I got out of the hospital, if I lived through this, my context was going to be, I'm here to make a difference. Period. Now, I've known a lot of people that didn't get stopped by failure, but that did get stopped by success. I believe that in the context of I'm here to make a difference, period, failure won't stop me, didn't stop me. Success won't stop me. I'm here to make a difference. And that larger perspective is what gets me out of bed on the days when it's difficult, I spent 30 hours almost getting to Mumbai. And when I went to my first talk today, they said, John, we're behind. Can you make it 15 minutes instead of 30? Okay, now the old John might have said, I just flew 30 hours to be here. Are we all right? No, the me now, I'm here to make a difference. 15 minutes, you got it. I'm going to make it the best thing that I can possibly do in 15 minutes, and that's that. So that context is the thing for me. Now, I'm going to give you one other thing, if I may. I wish I could just tell this to everybody who is ever going to fail here in India, because it's saved my life. It's from a cowboy romance novel by a guy named Louis L'Amour, and he said, there will come a time when you think everything is finished. That is the beginning.
Thank you so much, John, for joining us today.
You're very welcome.